Hello, my name's Jo. I just wanted to have a conversation with you today about why your alignment when you're doing your Pilates is so important. So getting your setup correct in terms of activating those core muscles. So when you're lying on your back, so we do quite a bit of work, don't we, in our Pilates sessions on your back. So when we're down here, it's really important that we can find some connection from our rib cage area and keep them drawn down. Now the trouble is with that is it's affected by everything else. So it's affected by our head nodding back. So if you come down to the mat and you're looking behind you, you need to be able to draw your chin down, because if not, this pull starts to pull the ribs open. And it's uncomfortable through the back of your neck as well. So we need to make sure we can lengthen out the top of the neck and keep the chin tucked in. You may need to use a little pillow to do that. And it doesn't always need to be a big pillow, yeah? I don't want you to be really tucked in and all scrunched up here. So we're thinking about keeping this length through the back of the neck. Now, the reason it's important that we can get our ribs drawn down is because how your core activates. So if your ribs are lifted, what we call thoracic extension, it means this connection from the diaphragm, from your big breath muscle, down through into the pelvis is in this open stretch position. So it cannot activate as easily and as readily as we would like. And we're training it to work in that position rather than training it to work in a balanced, more neutral position, sort of more day-to-day functional position. So it's really important that we check this, which is why I kind of nag everybody in every session in the nicest possible way. It's also affected by what happens in our lower back. So do you know when we come down and we can do these lovely pelvic tilts, just to start to tune in and get our brain talking to our body about what our lower back is doing. Because again, we want the relationship between the lower back and the pelvis, so those bony connections, to be as balanced as possible. We don't want to have a huge big arch through the back here, because that will also often throw open the ribs, and we end up again with finding it really challenging to get the correct sort of bracing and connection we need. And speaking of that connection, if you think about drawing your ribs down, almost like you're then trying to tighten your belt, but I don't want you to tighten your belt and then kind of tuck under too much. So we're just thinking about tightening it 1 or half a notch more. I want you to think then about pulling your hip bones together. So we're thinking about some tension that we can create through that lower abdominal cavity. And we can also think about drawing up through the pelvic floor to help with that. So almost like as the pelvic floor muscles, that hammock of muscles draw up, the abdominals draw down, and it creates this lovely sense of control and stability. So from there, we can start to do things like lifting our legs, extending our legs, all sorts of different load patterns that we may do in our Pilates session, and actually get a training effect in the way we want. So what we call precision and control in Pilates, rather than, for example, just everything moving. I've got no connection now through the front of my torso and I'm not getting any training effect. So when your instructor is talking to you about your neck alignment, talking about your rib alignment, talking about your pelvic alignment, it's for a very good reason, so that we can get this core connection and try and optimize it as best we can. I hope it helps. Try it out in your next class and just really tune in and concentrate on getting that alignment correct. And you can always ask your instructor if you need a little bit more help.